80% of the money made on OnlyFans does not come from your content. It comes from your chatting. And most creators out here are treating chatting as if it's an afterthought. They respond when they feel like it, they have no system, and they have no sales ability so that they can create consistent income for themselves. The top 1% of creators, the people making hundreds of thousands of dollars, know how to sell, they know how to persuade, and they know how to use the chats correctly to make sure they're making a consistent income month over month. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to chat if you want to get to the top 1% on OnlyFans. I'm going to show you what a good chatting ratio looks like. I'm going to give you some general sales psychology, and I'm going to give you some tactical boots on the ground strategies that you can use today to blow up your income. I've done direct sales for 7 years before I even got into this space in 5 different industries, so I have a lot of knowledge on how to sell any product to any person. And the best part about sales tactics like these is they're completely transferable to any other industry that you want to get into. So grab your pen and paper, let's jump straight into how to chat if you want to join the top 1% on OnlyFans. Okay, so the very first thing that the best creators in the world understand is the chats are not just some place that you can send some messages when you want. This is a sales floor. This is the primary place that you're going to be making money. And if you're relying on subscriptions or you're relying on people just buying things on your feed, you're doing it wrong. So the way that I like to look at this is everybody's been into one of these department stores here. You know, you go in, you see the Yves Saint Laurent, and there's always somebody standing right here. Right, all of this display, this is just saying, hey, this is what we have. This is essentially what's actively on your feed when people subscribe. But this person comes and says, how can I help you? Right? Okay, I want to get some certain type of makeup. Great, that's right over here. They follow you over there and they keep asking questions and they figure out what you want. Great, when they find you what you want, they escort you to the desk and they actually make the transaction happen. This is what sales is. You need to make sure that the transaction happens and nothing has happened until that person has spent money. So if you look at your chats more as this is the main place that you should be spending your time, this is when you're going to make much more money. But it also opens up the next idea is you need to be good at sales. You can't just say whatever you want. You need to be able to use certain tactics to get somebody to spend money even when they have objections. So let's keep going here. So a good way to tell if your chatting is actually good is understanding the chatting ratio. Now this isn't a blanket statement. This can be wrong sometimes, but it's a general idea of how good your chatting is. This is one of the creators that we started working with a little while ago. They were making $7,000 off of subscriptions and they're making around $2,000 off of their messages. Is this good or is this bad? I would say this is not very good. They are making a decent amount on subscriptions, but their chatting is only contributing like $2,000 when their subscriptions are doing way more. This is very bad because if anything happens on Instagram and you're not getting traffic, there's ebbs and flows, you can't really rely on anything. So what we did once they started working with us, he was making roughly around the same amount of subscriptions, but now they're making $20,000 just on the messages. This is a 3x ratio. Right? So when you look at these ratios, it means the amount of subscription money you're making versus the amount of chatting you're making. You usually want at least 3 to 4 to 5x for your chatting because that's how you know your chatters are actually doing work. If you're making $7,000 and you made $500 in messages, then you know your chatting sucks. And most of the money is made in the chats. We do not want to rely on people coming in and buying things and tipping you off of the feed. You want to get in there because you have more control over your ability to sell than you do waiting for somebody just to decide to give you money. Okay, so let's keep going. Another mindset shift here is you're not really selling content. You're selling the ability to talk to you. This is why people will say, I don't answer DMs. You have to go to this page. You're really just selling access. It's the same thing these people are doing here. This person probably paid like $5 grand for this steak. Did he really buy it for the steak or did he buy it so that all these other people get to see him buying the steak, right? You're selling access. The same thing as booths in clubs and all this stuff. They have VIP sections because people want to feel better than others. So what you're doing is you're essentially charging people to talk to you, right? And you're selling content as well. You're selling the girlfriend experience. So you want to be selling access, not content. The moment you start thinking about, oh, what is the content doing or why isn't the content working? You have it wrong. You want to set up your entire funnel so that people want to talk to you because then when they're talking to you, you can use your sales ability to sell them something, right? And I'm going to teach you guys some basic sales abilities in this video, so we'll jump there. But the main idea is you want to rely on your sales ability. You do not want to rely on other people making that decision to give you money for whatever reason they decide, because you'll be waiting forever. You need to add a little bit of buying pressure because people are lazy and they're afraid to make a mistake. So these are the tactics that you should be using every single day when you're selling in the chats. So the next thing here is there's 2 different types of funnels, right? There's your marketing funnel. Essentially what this is, your social media, your link page, OnlyFans page subscription, feed optimization, right? The theory for a marketing funnel is every every single time somebody gets closer, there is a drop off, right? So there'll be 10 people here, 5 people, 3 people, 2 people, 1 person. As you go deeper in a marketing funnel, there are less and less people because that's just how it is. People drop off, people bounce off the page. This is what a marketing funnel is supposed to look like. A sales funnel is a little bit different because people get in and you upsell them new stuff. You send them a mass message, you write down details about them, you transition into a sell. Once they buy something, you upsell them and then you sew them up at the end, right? You want to sell more and more and more in a sales funnel. Marketing funnels are more about conversions in terms of 10,000 people clicked on the page and 5,000 people got all the way through to the end and bought something. That is a marketing funnel. A sales funnel is more about upselling. Are you upselling more and more to the same customer? And are you increasing your average cart value, which essentially means how much money is somebody spending in one session? Okay, so let's keep going. The next thing I want to talk about is fan psychology, because fans can kind of be assholes. I'm sure you guys have seen this and you've experienced this. They'll bully you, they'll try to get free stuff, and they're just really, really rude. It's important to understand that we're not really dealing with standard issue people here. The people that we're dealing with look more like this guy, more like a Reddit guy. They're angry, they're probably frustrated. They don't really like their life a lot of the time, or else they wouldn't be doing this. If they were getting fulfilled in other places, then it would be a completely different story. But we have to understand that these people will try to bully you. So we need to understand how to handle these people. You need to be drawing boundaries. That is a big one because they will try to push you. You need to make sure that you are holding frame, which means people are reacting to you and you're not pushing and being a people pleaser, okay? So understanding that this is generally what the guy that's buying your content is looking like. That's important for you, so then you don't take it too seriously when they get angry or they try to threaten you or do any of that stuff, okay? So the next step is prospecting. So this is where I'm gonna get into the actual sales ability. If anybody here has done sales before, you understand that prospecting is the most important part of the sales process. What this means is you are prospecting for gold. You kind of look like this guy, you're out there seeing what's out there. So you're sending out feelers. So the main thing is you should be sending mass message openers to basically everybody on a daily basis. Why? Because some people will respond, some people won't. The next thing is you want to unsend the messages from people that did not open them. Why? Because if people go into these chats and they're not responding and there's tons of messages from just you, it looks spammy, it looks bad. So you send mass message openers to everybody, something like, hey babe, how are you? How's everything going, right? You're just starting conversations and you're putting feelers out there. And the people that respond, you can get into conversations with them. But the people that don't respond, you want to unsend all of those mass messages so that it doesn't look like you're just going crazy and you look really thirsty for money. The goal here is to get conversations started so that you can actually sell something to the people who are active, right? So this should definitely be part of your daily workflow. You need to be prospecting, you need to be starting conversations with as many people as possible, and that's how you can get them into the ladder selling or the upselling that I'm going to get to in a second here. So the next idea here is something called yes training. Essentially, this is a psychological phenomenon that when someone is agreeing with you, they tend to agree with you more, right? So the more yeses you can get from somebody, the more likely they are to say yes to the big one, which means money. So essentially asking questions like, hey, do you like what you do? Hey, do you like this? Looking for ways that people can agree with you is very, very good, because once people are agreeing with you, they tend to want to keep agreeing with you. And once you send them that message with a price tag on it, they're more likely to say yes because they're in the habit of saying yes to you. This is what we call yes training. Right? When somebody's saying yes to you, they will continue to do so unless you really, really screw it up. So take this into account. You want to be collecting small yeses and small agreements. And then once you send a big agreement, which is the transaction of them giving you money, it's more likely that they will do so. Okay, so let's keep going. So the next idea here is I'm going to teach you exactly how to transition to the close. So the first part of any conversation is going to be qualifying. Right? You're asking them questions. Where are you from? What do you do for work? What kind of kinks do you have? Like, this is all very kind of platonic stuff. But you need to be able to transition into a sale or into a potential close, right? So say you have all of your details, you need to transition into a sales conversation. And there's 2 lines that I want you to screenshot here and use on your own and test them out, right? If I was there with you, what would we be doing? This all of a sudden opens up the idea that, okay, we can start talking sexually. We can start talking about things that we can build a fantasy that can sell, right? Or imagine if I was there with you. These are the 2 transitions that we use all the time because it takes it from the qualifying side of the sale into the potential close, right? Once he starts talking about what he would do if you were there, you could start talking about building him a custom video that would fulfill that fantasy, right? So the idea here is the first part of the process is qualifying. Do they have money? Are they going to buy something? Great. They're responding. They're agreeing with you. They're very, very active and engaged. Using something like imagine if I was there, or if I was there with you, what would we be doing? Because now he's telling you about the fantasy that you can fulfill with a piece of content. Okay, so let's keep going. So kind of tapping back into the different types of fans, a lot of them are very rude and they can be very mean to you. It's very important not to be a people pleaser. It's important that you do not give them discounts. It's important that you tell them that is the price, because these people, if they realize that you will give them discounts, they will abuse that. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile. So it's understanding boundaries and objections. If these people are not your VIPs, then they're not worth it. Do not let them bully you. Do not let them tell you that they want free stuff. Do not let them get angry at you and scare you, because a lot of these people, it's all just empty threats, right? So you need to have boundaries and you need to be able to solve objections. If somebody's saying no to you, it usually means not right now. They have worries trying to figure out what the problem is and getting through that objection. Not every single person is closed on every single thing. Some people just don't have the money, and this is why understanding their pay periods and the jobs that they have is important, because some people genuinely can't afford it. So understanding that you cannot be a people pleaser. Do not ever devalue your own product. Don't give discounts. Don't let people bully you into giving them content for free. You need to make sure that you know that these guys are angry. They're angry at their life, and they're going to try and bully and get a power trip any way that they can. So you need to have boundaries here, and you need to make sure that these people do not take advantage of you, because once you let them do it once, they'll continue to do it forever. So if all of this sounds very, very difficult and you want to work with us directly, we would handle all of your chatting for you. We would do your chatting. We would give you content ideas. We would help you build your niche. We would help you build your brand. We would remove all of your leaks. We would post on your OF. We would post it with captions. You wouldn't have to do anything on your OnlyFans besides provide us with the photos and the videos we need to post. We would optimize your profile so that people were encouraged to go to the chats, and we'd obviously give you coaching and guidance whenever things change in the industry. So if this sounds like something that you'd like, you can go to the link in the top pinned comment or the description. We're doing a free 30-minute audit where we'll take a look at your OnlyFans, your funnel, your marketing, your branding, all of that stuff, and we can give you guys some free sauce. Caveat here, you have to apply for this. We're not looking to work with straight up beginners, because most of these tactics do not work unless you already have some motion, some traffic, and have an OnlyFans account. So if you're one of the people that has some motion already and you're just stuck, go to the link in the top pinned comment or the link in the description. And I hope everything in this video made sense. I hope this was valuable for you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.